That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it gets harder and harder to resist.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Brigitte. It's the spooky season, Brigitte. What are you doing?
What's up, Mike? How's it going?
How is your October going thus far?
My October's going pretty good. I just got back from Orlando, Florida. I wanted to go to Halloween Horror Nights, but ended up fast passes were sold out, so I ended up doing Busch Gardens Hallow Scream.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Dude, it was actually pretty awesome. They had 5 different they called them extreme haunted houses. I wouldn't call it extreme, but and they had 5 scare zones. So man, we was there about 6 hours, and it was a really, really, really fun time. It was really cool. I'm not really big into haunts myself, but
right. But they were very elaborate.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was cool. I like walking. You know what? My favorite thing about haunted houses is going through and seeing all the props.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me too. I mean, they can get me occasionally. They usually can't get me at all. But the only time they've ever really got me is if it's just like so dense, like with fog or something, you just can't see. Or sometimes with a misdirection, like they have something going on in one place and they jump out at another place. Occasionally they'll get me, but it's very rare.
Yeah, very rare. I think it's because we're desensitized.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I think so.
Listen, so we got a good episode. We got a interview. I did an interview already. I recorded an interview with Athena, who is also known as Athena, the Louisville Blood Queen. So I interviewed her. So we'll play that a little bit later. And we met her. Did you meet her at CreepyCon? I met her at CreepyCon.
I mean, her and I were messaging back and forth because we were both there working, but we were both so swamped. I never actually got a chance to meet her in person.
Okay. All right. So I'll roll that in a little bit. So it's October. Halloween is upon us. All things Halloween. Everybody's breathing, living Halloween. We've talked about this before. I have a Halloween sale that goes on every year. This is my 15 years, believe it or not, 15 years of doing a Halloween sale on movies, Blu-rays, DVDs, and digitals and all that stuff. And it's kind of the one time that I really got to go all out and really tell people about movies and kind of really just, put it out there because that's when people really, it's when everybody's interested in horror movies. So I do have a really good sale going on right now. It's like $4 DVDs, $6 Blu-rays. Collections are like 60% off or something like that. It's just a really good sale. So anybody's interested in physical copies, I know it dwindles down less and less every day, but there's still some of us out there. So go out and get some before Halloween is over.
60% off. That's a pretty amazing deal. And so if somebody want to go buy your movies, where can they check you out at?
They can go to www.fauxpasfilms.com and order some. And like I said, it's something we do every year. It's just fun. I like doing it. It's always something, that gets more interest and gets more people that hasn't ever heard of the movies for it. Oh, okay, cool. I'll check these out.
Yeah, and you can't just stream all of your movies. Is that right? You can't just stream all of them. So
most of them are on Amazon. You can purchase them there, rent them there. But there are a couple, like the last couple ones, that are not on there at all, and some of the other little ones you can't either. So yeah, it's a good place to catch them all. I wanted to talk to you about horror in general and ask your opinion. Obviously horror has blown up. It's way more mainstream than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago for sure. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you ever get a fear of it becoming too mainstream, of it just becoming too sort of normal? I mean, even now though, it is still seen as kind of the sort of, lesser genre of film, especially with accolades and stuff like that. It's still not ever gotten its due. I mean, horror tends to make money mostly because they are usually made pretty cheaply, a lot cheaper than a lot of the other ones are for some reason, which you don't, it's kind of weird. But but do you ever have that feeling and maybe it's going to be just too mainstream?
Sometimes I do think that, but I think as long as there's people like us around that you're still gonna have that. You're still gonna have that little percentage of your people that are never ever gonna go that mainstream. I still like it, but we still like our low budget, local, small indie films. But no, that's always been kind of a thought in my mind. I was just on a podcast on Monday. I was Tracy and I were featured on Check Your Brain podcast, and we talked a little bit about that. It was like, horror movies, are people like really into? Are they really that into it? I was like, really, really depends. And he started talking about like big Hollywood mainstream. I was like, there is so much more to it than that. People just don't realize. And I was telling him, I was like, man, you could go on Netflix and put in a horror code and you get like 2,000 movies, and that's just on Netflix. So it's
Right.
but a lot of people just don't know those things.
Right. Yeah. So it's funny because like I used to, a long time ago, I used to be really big into vampires and vampire movies, believe it or not. Like, and I this is like before the internet was what it is today. So I was like, I had this idea that I'm going to watch every vampire movie in the world ever made.
Oh,
Which this is a long time ago. Of course, there's no way that it can ever be done. I don't think by anyone, to be honest, unless you never ever do anything
I was
else.
gonna say, oh my god,
Yeah.
I couldn't even guess how many vampire movies there are out there.
Right.
I don't know how long ago
Right.
this was, but still,
Well, this was years and years ago. But of course now, I mean, I got, I devoured all the ones that were at my local, mom and pop video stores and stuff like that. But it wasn't like you didn't see Tubi and Netflix and all that at that point, so you didn't really know what all was out there. And also, I mean, there was Fangoria and stuff, but they didn't cover everything, So all these sites now, they'll cover all these smaller things. You go, oh, okay, cool. So I did have this idea, and so I was really enthralled with that particular subgenre. But once Twilight came out, I mean, I kind of got lost interest in it, to be honest.
Do you know? So when Twilight come out, everyone knew that I was like this big horror nut, right? And they're like, "Oh my god, do you like Twilight?" Well, right about that time, True Blood come out, and I was a huge True Blood fan. I was like, Twilight's kind of Mickey Mouse to me. I was not a Twilight fan at all.
I only watched the first one. I didn't watch any of the other ones. I watched the first one, and I absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I could see why. Me too. I was like, well, it's not, it's not for everyone. It was. That's exactly what I said. I said it's kind of Mickey Mouse. But did you ever watch True Blood at all?
Oh yeah, I watched every episode.
I love True Blood. But they both come out right at the same time. I feel like it was maybe 2008, somewhere around there. But yeah, I was not a Twilight fan. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Twilight come out and
no, that was just it. It's kind of that it became mainstream, and that really sort of like ruined my sort of infatuation with that subgenre. I mean, I'll still watch stuff that are vampires occasionally, but I don't really seek them out anymore. It's just not. I really have lost interest in it. But yeah, that kind of did it. So I was just kind of like thinking, what if it happened like for everything, and everything just became so like everybody loved it, Because that's one of the things that you kind of do get drawn to it because outsiders are drawn to the outside art, and that's kind of what horror's always been,
Yeah. Speaking of vampires, I can't believe I did not mention this to you. So when I was in Orlando, I was there, I was training through the week. Friday night, I was like, I'm just going to stay through the weekend and try to have a good time. And we got, Tracy got us tickets to this show called Nosferatu.
Okay.
Nosferatu, it was at the Renaissance Theater Company in Orlando. So it was an interactive vampire play, and you go to rooms, and I had never seen anything like it before. And they even pulled me off into a room. In the very, very end, we pretty much watched like 20 vampires having an orgy, and just people standing around watching it. It was like really crazy. I had never seen anything like that before, but I had so much fun. We had a lot of fun. I was like, well, I walked out there going, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. I mean, they do like full nudity, but it's got the horror theme, and the ambience is really cool. So that was a really cool show. So I figured I'd give them some kudos on the podcast. It was pretty fun.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
We should do something like that in Nashville, right? Well, we talked about that haunted house that I went to that one time, which was very porn.
I was gonna say risque, but that's not even. That's too mild.
Right.
That's not saucy enough.
Unsimulated kind of stuff. Yeah. So let's get into it. It's been a while. So what have you been watching?
So let me pull up my list. So I have some good ones, and you know what? I can't ever remember. I always write the names that whenever someone recommends a movie, I always write them down. I can't remember if you had recommended these to me on a prior podcast or not. So my first one is Feed Me. Did you recommend? Yeah, did you recommend that to me?
I don't know. I don't know if I did or not. I've seen it, but I don't know if I recommended it or not.
Oh, okay. Well, I watched it. I did like it. It's a film from 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It's following the death of his wife. A broken man spirals into an abyss of night terrors and depression and finds himself in the home of a deranged cannibal who convinces him to take his own life in the most horrific way imaginable.
Yeah.
I did love the movie. It was just a different storyline, and my favorite thing about it is it got straight to the good stuff.
Right.
I love it when movies do that because it's my ADHD. So, but no, I thought it was really good. It was really gory. It was kind of, and there was parts that were funny. There was comedy in it. I thought it was a really good spin between horror and comedy. Believe it or not, for the first time I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
So did I.
Wait, for your first time? Your first time watching it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No shit. That's crazy. I mean, I did like it. I thought first time that the trailer was sent to me, like the teaser trailer, I was like, is this a joke? Right. But it's kind of weird because that's almost nostalgia for me, you know, because I did grow up in the 80s. But I did think they did leave out some pieces though, because it was all about Pooh and Piglet. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what happened to the other ones? I thought they were going to pop up later on or something, and it was, you know, it was a little more gorier than it was better than what I thought it was going to be. I'll say that.
Yeah, exactly. I felt the same way. I actually expected it to be terrible, and it actually wasn't bad. It was plenty of gore. The story in the beginning of it actually set it up pretty good, to be honest. It was a lot better than I did think it was going to be, and I think some of the characters aren't in it because their copyright hasn't ran out yet. I think that might be part of it. See, they're able to do Pooh because the copyright has expired. So I think some of the characters in Pooh, they can't do yet.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think that might be it. But I think they're making a sequel, and I think that they're Tigger's going to be in it, they said. But some of the others may not be. But so here's a funny story about that movie. I read an article recently that apparently in Miami, somewhere in that area, a fourth grade teacher showed it to her class.
What?
Yeah. At least part of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now I don't know how
this is not children friendly.
I don't know how this came about. I don't know if she thought it was something else or let's watch some Winnie the Pooh today, kind of a deal. But apparently,
I say it's not children friendly. But when I was 10, I'd have been like, I'm so watching this movie.
Right, and you know, and I remember like maybe being in like junior high or something watching Chucky 2 at school. But it's a different time now. They really aren't gonna, you know what I mean? They're not gonna be showing that stuff without some pushback. And so yeah, I guess there's some issues there with the children. But interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, but all right. I would recommend this movie. I didn't have high expectations going in, but it turned out I was like, oh, that was actually pretty good. I mean, it's better than what I thought it was going to be. So I think that was the thing is don't have high expectations going in because you set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would totally recommend that one. Another movie. Now I know that you saw this one because I had it on my list, but I hadn't watched it yet. But I did get around to it. Is Natty Knox? Is it Natty Knox?
Yeah,
Natty Knox.
Yeah, Natty Knox.
I'm a huge Bill Moseley fan. Huge. So had to check that off my list. Bill Moseley and Robert Englund.
Yeah, little cameo.
Yeah. He had a small little part. I did like it.
Yeah,
I did. I thought it was pretty good. It was easy to figure out what was happening, but I did like the movie though. I know we had talked about it before, but remind me, you liked it too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was enjoyable. I mean, it wasn't like great or anything, but yeah, it's a decent little indie horror.
Yeah. Another movie I had on my list, I don't even have any notes about it, which means that it might not have been that great.
Okay.
It's just called Honeymoon.
Honeymoon. Oh, that's the one with the guy and the girl, right?
Yeah, it was from 2014.
I've seen that one, but I tell you, I barely remember it because I watched it when it first came out. But is the girl, is she a redhead?
Yeah, and like he's like, oh, I've known her, and then she just kind of starts changing when they go out here, and I'm like, I didn't even put any notes about it, so I'm gonna move on.
I may need to watch it again because I don't remember enough about it. I don't remember hating it for no reason, but I can't recall much of the plot. So.
Yeah, and that's bad. I'm like, I just watched this like 2 weeks ago. So that's kind of bad. If you leave a movie and you can't remember shit about it like 2 weeks later, it's kind of bad.
It happens to me.
Same. Here's a movie that I didn't realize how intense it was going to be going in. And I feel I've had this on my list for a while, and I feel like you just watched it recently. It's called Compliance.
I have watched Compliance, but not recently. You're talking about the one where it's the girl and the true story?
Yes.
That's a good one. The story is crazy.
The story is crazy. So here's your storyline. The plot of the movie is closely based upon an actual strip search phone call scam. In both the film and the real life incident, a caller posing as a police officer convinced a restaurant manager and others to carry out unlawful procedures on an innocent employee. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, it's a prank. Oh no, it's that shit. Like, I was like, oh my God, I almost kind of felt uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, this shit really fucking happened.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that happened. In a manager's role, I was like, what a master manipulator.
Yeah. I'll tell you, some people, man. And, one of them was in Kentucky, right? But come to find out, it's happened quite a few places. Like, not to this extreme, but yeah, they did it quite a few places.
I know, and that's what's crazy. I was like, that's happened that many times.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, that is insane to me. So, and with movies, they always like, it might have been, they might have made intensive. Yeah, they might have intensified a little bit, but
sure.
But no, that was a crazy, crazy movie. I mean, like, I would consider it extreme.
Yeah.
There was parts of it I was like, holy shit, that is so uncomfortable. It's not scary, but the fact that really did happen to someone is kind of a scary thought. So
right, yeah, it's like real life horror. Yeah.
The only other one that I have on my list, and I don't have a lot to say about it because I fell asleep during it. So it's called Reptile. Have you seen this one?
I haven't seen it. I watched the trailer for it. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's Justin Timberlake, Alicia Silverstone. There is so much going on in this movie. Like, the storyline is just all over the damn place. It is so all over the place. I literally fell asleep. I was like, I can't even keep up with the hell's going on. And so I wouldn't recommend it at all.
Yeah.
Tracy did stay up and watch the rest of it. And he was like, that movie sucked. So I was like, okay. I was like, I could tell I fell asleep. So I wouldn't recommend that one. But yeah, that's all I have on my list. So you probably have a pretty long one.
Yeah, I got a little bitty one, or pretty long one. Yeah. Here's the thing about October. I like to go into October and watch like the movies I love, like the ones I just absolutely love to death. But it's so hard to do that anymore because there's so many new movies coming out that you just don't have time. If you're really trying to watch all the new stuff, it's hard to sit there and like just go through your whole list of like the ones that you love, especially because if you're like me, you have so many of the horror movies that you love. But I maybe watched a couple of those of the oldies so far, but I haven't really dug into any of that. But I got some new stuff. Here's the list. So Frankenstein has been around forever, since forever. And there have been so many different versions of it, good or bad, some great, some not that great. It's really hard to put new blood into it, really, there's not a whole lot that you can really do. But so there's this new movie. It's called The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
Oh, okay. I
Drop.
don't think I've heard of it.
It's on Shudder, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's she's a teenager, and then like some bad stuff happens to her family. It's actually a pretty good movie. I liked it. It's more about loss than anything, and trying to deal with the loss of things that happen in your life. But I think it was done pretty well. I think it rejuvenated the story a little bit, but that's what it's really about, essentially. But there are reasons behind. She's not like a mad scientist in the lab somewhere, trying to, it's a story that has a point to it. So I recommend it. I thought it was pretty good. I actually did enjoy it.
Okay.
That one's on Shudder. Up next is The History of Metal and Horror. This is a documentary that infuses the music scene of heavy metal or metal and horror, and how that's always intertwined, and quite often it very much is. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's almost like, it's funny how some things go like wrestling and horror. It's the weirdest thing. Even though neither one of us are into like the wrestling, but
No,
you know how many people we talk to and they're like, they do horror, but they're also a wrestler. I'm like, that's the craziest thing.
Yeah, that's true. But on the other side, if they're not a wrestler, they're probably a musician.
Yeah,
and that's and even I came from that background as well. The music and stuff, not metal per se, but music, rock, and so I would say that most people, or a lot of people, they kind of have that intertwined sort of stuff. So that's a good documentary to check out. I think that was on Screambox.
Okay.
Up next was a movie called The Djinn. Have you seen this movie?
The Djinn?
Yeah, it's like DJINN.
I don't think so. I don't think I've even heard of it.
There's like 2 or 3 of them. Sometimes I get confused on which ones I've watched. This one's a mute boy is trapped in his apartment with a sinister monster that he makes a wish to fulfill his heart's greatest desire. This one came out in 2021. It was okay. It was about kind of a middle of the road kind of a movie. Nothing major.
Nothing crazy. Okay.
No, nothing too crazy to write home about. Up next was a little movie called Vampire. I was talking about vampires earlier. This is from 2011. A biology teacher looks for young suicidal women online to satisfy his taste for blood. Rather than violent, his acts are quite peaceful and always consented. It's a pretty interesting movie. It's not really like, there's no like big scares or like what you would usually see with a vampire movie with excessive blood or like fangs and stuff like that. It's not that kind of a movie. It's tried to be more like realistic, I guess, in its own way. It's kind of weird though. There are some people in this movie that I didn't expect to see. Rachel Lee Cook was in here, and so was Catherine Isabel.
Okay. Where'd you stream this at?
I think I saw it on Vudu or Tubi. I think it's Vudu, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was 2011. I won't say it's a great movie. It's kind of boring. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot that goes on. So if you don't like those kind of movies, probably not for you. But yeah, it was okay. Up next was 2007's Brutal. This is a really small independent movie, low budget stuff.
Was it brutal?
I mean, there's some okay kills. There's some decent gore in it. Jeffrey Combs is in here. He plays a like hillbilly cop, which I think is hilarious.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah. So I mean, worth a watch. Not crazy great, but some of the acting's a little iffy, but not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next was,
so you got to check it off your list.
Yeah. Up next is a new movie, 2022 movie called Play Dead.
Play Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a weird one. Chloe fakes her own death to steal evidence from a morgue. The coroner uses the morgue as a front for a sick and twisted business. A scary game of cat and mouse ensues as Chloe learns more and more about the dead than she bargains for. You have to really suspend your disbelief here for this one. Like this guy was trying to rob a bank, but then he didn't, and his sister tries to steal, bring into the morgue because the dead guy that was his friend had his phone. It was this long story. I was like, what? Anyway, but then find out there's some shady stuff going on there. So it's got Jerry O'Connell is the guy, plays the guy in it. The girl is Bailey Madison. I don't know if you know her or not. She was in that new Strangers at Night, Pray at Night movie. I don't particularly like her style of acting necessarily, but as far as the movie goes itself, it's okay.
Yeah.
You'll be scratching your head a lot, going like, "What? Why?" Kind of a deal. But yeah, other than that,
And what was that one called again?
that one's called Play Dead.
Play Dead. Okay.
Mhm. I think that might be on Hulu. I'm not for sure.
Okay.
Up next was 2021, Murder in the Woods. This is, it's kind of weird because this has like a really good rating on Rotten Tomatoes if you like that stuff. But it's just like a slasher movie, but they're Hispanic, I think, mostly. Danny Trejo's in here. Plays a
I
cop.
think I've seen this movie, but I didn't care for it.
Okay.
I only knew that when you said Danny Trejo's in it, and it's funny what you say about Rotten Tomatoes because I'm like, if Rotten Tomatoes gives it a good review, probably means I will like it. I feel like I'm so opposite of their ratings.
Oh, so if they give it a good review, you won't like it?
No, if they give it a good review, I won't like it. If they give it a bad review, I will like it. I'm the complete opposite of what they say.
Right. Yeah, it was just a kind of a by the numbers slasher movie. Nothing. Actually, I think it kind of wanted to be Scream a little bit. It kind of wanted to be Scream there toward the end, toward the third act. It kind of wants to be, but it's not there. It didn't make it. Up next was a rewatch of Urban Legend. You've seen Urban Legend before.
Oh yeah, 100%, like a million times.
Do you like that movie?
I was never a big fan, but then again, I've seen it so many times. I'm like, why do I keep going back and watching it? So I must like it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, I must like it because I've seen it so many times. But I feel like it's really underrated too. It
gets lumped into these Scream ripoffs, which it is. But it's the best Scream ripoff that there could be, and it doesn't really follow the formula like Scream. I mean, it takes notes from Scream, but the movie itself is not like the movie Scream. It's not trying to be Scream. It's kind of just used as a template to make the movie. Yeah. But there's so many love letters to horror in this movie, man. You've got Robert Englund's in here, and who else? The guy that plays Chucky's in here. Daniel Harris plays a goth girl. The acting, it's really, really good. There's one girl in there, and I don't even remember her name. Oh my god, I think she was in the movie Jawbreaker. I was like, she's real pretty. Yeah. She was the Rebecca Gayheart.
Yes, yeah, she was like the cover girl. Was real pretty. I was like, oh, I like her in this movie. I hope she doesn't die.
Yeah, I mean, the sequels aren't that great, but I think this one is great. I mean, it's shot great. It has a lot of really cool urban legends that it sets up. I mean, yes, it does, again, play from Scream where it has the younger people from TV, and there is a few little jokes like Pacey from Dawson's Creek, Joshua Jackson. When he gets in the car, the theme song from Dawson's Creek comes on. There's a few little nods like that, but overall though, I think it's just a well written movie, and so it's executed very good. I mean, again, if you like Scream, I would say watch it, but even if you don't like the rest of the so-called rip-offs of Scream, this was the best one. I can't tell you another one that is in that era, in that same time period, that pulled it off as well as this one. And so I think it is. I mean, it's like slashers, people love slashers, and certain ones they don't. But it's like nobody just says I can't like Friday the 13th because Halloween was made, even though even the director says we ripped off Halloween. So yeah. I think anybody who hasn't seen this should check it out because I love it. I love it.
It's funny you say that, but I never really thought it was. I've never ever thought that movie as a ripoff of Scream. But now that you say that, I mean, maybe it did set up like a template for it, maybe. But I never ever thought it was a Scream ripoff ever. Yeah, I can see why you say that, but no, that's a good one. Everyone should check out because I've seen it so many times. So, it's funny. You're like, do you like it? I'm like, oh, not really. I don't know. Maybe I guess I do because it's one of those you just keep going back and rewatching. Is that one of your like movies you have to watch every Halloween?
No, not really. I did watch it because people were talking about it because of the 25th anniversary. I was like, oh yeah, I kind of got, oh yeah, I need to watch that again because it's been a little while. But I do watch it often. I do watch it quite often because I do.
25 years?
25 years, yep.
That movie was made 25 years ago?
Yep.
Holy shit. Damn, time flies, doesn't it?
It sure does. Sure does. All right, up next is a rewatch of a movie, Alone in the Dark. Have you seen this movie?
Alone in the Dark. I think so. Tell me what it's about.
A detective of the paranormal slowly unveils mysterious events with deadly results. It's got Christian Slater in it, Tara Reid. It's made by that guy, Ua Boll. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so. When you said Christian Slater, Tara Reid, I don't think I've seen it.
It's that UWE Boll, Boll. That, there for a while he was making all kinds of movies. I don't think they let him near a camera anymore because it's kind of weird. He made the Blood Rain movie and quite a few movies there for a while, but he's kind of been called like one of the worst directors ever.
That's what I was gonna say. Why wouldn't they let him in front of a camera? Like, what's he done?
And this Alone in the Dark has a 2.4. It's not a great movie, but I mean, but to be fair, like a lot of it's CGI heavy, and in 2005 the CGI wasn't great, so yeah. Like
CGI is one of them funny things. Like it has to be done like just perfectly because if it can either look super shitty and look super fake, or it can look kind of cartoonish.
Yeah. And I think he just didn't maybe have the resources to really pull it off at the time. But I don't know. I mean, he's not American, so maybe the translation just gets lost a little bit. But yeah, Alone in the Dark. That's that one. Up next was a little movie called Bunny Man. Have you seen Bunny Man?
I think so. I think so.
So here's the thing. I went into this movie thinking, oh, I've seen this before, but I was confused. I was thinking of the Bunny Game.
Oh, the Bunny Game. That's what I'm thinking about. It's the Bunny Game. But Bunny Man, I think I watched a review on it not too long ago. Is it extreme? Is it goofy? Is it extreme? It's kind of goofy, like where a guy dresses like a bunny.
It's goofy. It is goofy. Extreme, maybe in point, not really bad, but it's really. I don't know how I feel about this movie because it's good in some ways, and then it's really weird. It's like they also use like a lot of old stock footage.
Isn't there like a few of them or something?
I think there are. There's like, yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I think I've seen one of them. I don't know which one it was. And this had to been like, God, like early, like 2013, 2014, something like that, a really long time ago. But
yeah,
that is crazy. I completely forgot about it. When you first said it, I thought you were talking about Bunny Games, but
yeah. I haven't seen any of the other ones of these, but so this is the first time I watched it. But yeah, like you said, though, there's like humor. There's like sometimes it's trying to be funny, and sometimes it's trying to be scary, and a little bit more like old school exploitation, I guess you'd say. But I wouldn't say it's extreme necessarily. But I mean, there are some decent kills in it and stuff, but I don't know. It's very uneven. It takes you in and out a lot, So like you have to be okay with that to be like, all right, to really enjoy it. I think because I kept watching, going, what is this? What's going on with this movie? What's it trying to do? But it's interesting for sure. For sure, you don't see a lot of movies like it. So,
which one did you watch? Did you watch like the first one?
It was
because I know there's a few of them. I think
so. It was the first one, but apparently they re-released it. Called it the Grindhouse Edition. Put maybe some few other. I don't know what all they put. I know they put a scene with Darcy the Mail Girl, Diana Prince. Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah,
she has a shower scene in it. So I think that was added, and maybe some other stuff which I don't know because I haven't seen the original. But but it is technically the original film that came out in 2011, just a new edition of it.
Okay, gotcha. So if I watched it, I don't think I watched it in 2011. It might have been that, but. I don't remember. That was a long time ago. So maybe that might be something a fun rewatch.
Yeah. All right. So up next was Chud 2, Bud the Chud. You seen that?
No.
No. I think I'd seen it before. I definitely saw parts of it. But you seen Chud 1, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So Bud the Chud came out in 2089. It's a pretty fun little movie.
What did you say? When did it come out?
Came out in, well, what did I say, 2089?
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
It came out in 1989. It came out in 1989. Yeah, it's a pretty fun little movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Up next was a new movie called That's a Wrap.
That's a wrap. Okay.
So this is about, it's kind of like one of those in movies, you know, like, so they just directed what's considered to be his masterpiece, a film that's called That's a Wrap. It's very meta, you know. The cast arrive at the studio, excited to celebrate what they just created, but then, you know, people start dying and stuff. It starts out really good. I really like the opening of it. Then it kind of turns into like sort of a kind of slow indie slasher movie.
Okay. Okay.
Sarah French is in it. Do you know who that is?
No.
So Sarah French, she's an actress. She's done quite a few little indie stuff, nothing major. She started out, I think, in Minnesota and did a lot of stuff there, but now she's in Hollywood, and so she does a lot of the. You probably seen her in something, you just might not know the name, but she's out there trying to be one of the Hollywood actresses out there, horror. So
okay,
it's a pretty
good for her.
Yeah, it's a pretty good. It's a decent movie though. I mean, it does get a little slow, I think, in parts, and it's not like awesome, but it's on Tubi. All right.
Okay.
Up next was, you watched this movie. I think you told me about this movie, Sick for Toys.
Oh yeah.
I finally got around to watching that movie.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was very contained and with some deranged people in it and everything.
Yeah, gotta love those deranged people.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's maybe a little early for Christmas movies, but
I know. I was gonna say, I was like, you're a couple months early for that one. Sick for Toys is one of those. It's like one of those horror Christmas movies that no one knows about. So
right, yeah, worth a watch for sure. Up next was a new movie called Appendage. Have you heard of this movie? This one's on Hulu. A young fashion designer's life spirals into her darkest inner thoughts, manifest into something gruesome that won't stop growing. So this girl's having a lot of problems, and then something starts growing out of her appendage, and it kind of goes onto its own. It starts out, it's kind of like that Bad Milo movie in a way, but it takes itself a little bit more seriously, or played more straight. But so this thing grows off of her, and then come to find out, it's kind of like the Body Snatchers, though. Eventually, like, it tries to become her, you know.
So is it like a good body? It's like a good body horror movie.
Not a good movie. It's okay. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's great or anything, because I thought it was funny at first, because it just seems like a silly premise, you know. But again, it doesn't have a lot of comedy in it, really. But yeah, I mean, it was okay. It is okay. But it's not really body horror, other than the thing coming out of her. And, you know, just give it give the trailer a watch, see what you think. But it's on Hulu.
Okay, all right, got it.
Up next was a little film from 1989. I'm stuck on the 1989s now. Abarella, Black Angel. You ever seen this?
I don't think so. Abarella, Black Angel, 1989.
Yeah, so this is a weird Italian slasher. Abarella is a nymphomaniac. One day, her writer husband finds her with another man. She has a strange reaction. She kills her lover. Well, this is, what would you call this? This is softcore, I would say.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
There's a lot of nudity in this movie. Yeah, there's some castration scenes too. As far as the horror, it's not too bad. Like there's not a lot of brutality in the horror or anything. But interesting for sure. That one's on Shudder, believe it or not. I'd never heard of it.
I'd never heard of it. Me either.
Well, it's an Italian movie. But they considered it a giallo. But it's interesting for sure. All right, I got a few more. Up next, I did a rewatch of Rose Red. You've seen that?
Oh, did you watch it all the way through? The whole 4 hours?
All the way through.
It's funny that I've seen it. That's another one I've seen several times. I'm like, why do I watch this movie over and over? I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, a little slow. Too slow for you?
It's too slow for me. It really is. Yeah. And maybe it's too long. I don't know.
Well, some of those miniseries do run a little too long. They could have used an editor for sure, Yeah. I would say it might be the only one of all of those big long Stephen King ones that's just fine without an edit, to me.
Yep, agreed 100%. 100%.
But there are a lot of those that could really, use a little bit of a trim. But I like it though. I do like it. Not my favorite for sure. No, of his epics. Up next was the Boogeyman.
Did you like it?
And not to be confused with the Boogeyman before, but it is
because they have nothing, because they're not related
they're
at
not
all.
Related. There's really nothing like it, except they are kind of related because it's a PG movie, PG-13, just like the other one was. It doesn't have the fast cuts and stuff like that one, but it does have a creature. It was okay. I mean, I'm not PG-13 horror, man. It's iffy, man, and it's hard. It's hard for me to really get into it because you really have to be skillful at that,
That's what I'm saying. You and I are like damn near desensitized. So movies that will scare the shit out of some people were like, eh. Right. But you remember I didn't like if we talked about it before, I didn't like the Boogeyman that came out like 2008 or whenever that came out. Mm-hmm. I don't remember when it came out. It was somewhere around that time, but I didn't like it. I even had the DVD. It was like a random buy. I bought the movie and brought it home, watched it one time, and I was like, no, that's it. I didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, this one's okay. It's better than that one, I would say, but it's still, I didn't love it. Like, the creature was pretty cool. There are certain shots with the creature and everything that's pretty cool. And the acting's pretty decent and everything, but I mean, I didn't love it. I do like the actors and stuff that are in it. One of the girls from Yellow Jackets is in it, and some other people that I've seen many times. But overall, it's just kind of a middle of the road kind of a movie, honestly. Yeah. Worth checking out, but not awesome. Up next was Totally Killer.
Totally Killer.
This just dropped on Amazon Prime recently. When the infamous Sweet 16 killer returns 35 years later after his first murder spree to claim another victim, 17-year-old Jamie accidentally travels back in time to 1987, determined to stop the killer before he can start. This movie's a lot of fun, man. I loved it. I
really?
I thought it was really good. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, if you don't like those time travel movies, you might not enjoy it. But I did. I liked it. Yeah. It's the girl who plays Sabrina, the Netflix version of Sabrina. It was fun. It was funny and had some decent kills, I guess you would say. It's not crazy with the gore, but I did. I liked it. It's on Prime.
So it's Totally Killer then.
Totally Killer. Totally Killer. Yes.
All right. So I'll check that one out then.
All right. Up next was the prequel, Pet Sematary: Bloodlines.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
I don't think you and I've talked about this one before.
Well, this one just came out.
Yeah, I don't think we have. Oh, you're talking about the one that just dropped. I haven't seen this one. Did you like it? No, you didn't, did you?
It was underwhelming for sure. Kind of an unnecessary movie. I would say it was a cash grab, but they released it on Paramount Plus, so I guess it was more of a to get people to watch Paramount Plus grab. Yeah, it was kind of weird, David Duchovny's in here.
Did you say it was underwhelming?
It was underwhelming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't really find it necessary or anything. And the stakes were. You didn't really even see what, like the stakes weren't there like they are in the original, So I don't know. Yeah. I would say check it, if you've seen all the other ones, check it off your list, but I don't know. Maybe don't expect greatness.
Yeah, you'll totally be underwhelmed. That I was like, oh, things you don't want people to say about your movies.
That might have been a little harsh, but I didn't
That was the funniest. That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
I didn't hate it. I was like, oh my god, but I didn't walk away going, that was awesome.
Okay.
All right. So up next, I went to the theaters. I saw a couple movies. First thing I saw was Saw X.
Yeah.
Saw 10.
Are you a fan of the Saw franchise?
I am a fan of the Saw franchise. I used to watch them in theaters whenever they came out every October. I am a fan of the movies overall. So this was a weird one because the story had been done. Like they'd pretty much done everything that they could think of with Saw. And it'd been done for a while. Then they had Spiral,
Yep.
that came out. Did Jigsaw come out after Spiral? Was that before Spiral? I can't remember. But anyway, that was like they brought that one out, but that was revealed to be, spoiler alert, a prequel, like the beginning, kind of a deal. But John Kramer died in like what, 2, 3? So, they've been really milking that as much as they could, as far as they could. So with this one, they said, okay, we're going to make a movie. We're going to put it between the first movie and the second movie. So this is a story that it's like a comic book in a way. It's like another version. You know what I mean? It's like another part of it. But anyway, so this one came out between those two. And I think I liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it doesn't break the mold. It's the same formula for the most part. There are a couple little twists, I guess you would say, but it doesn't have the main big twists like most of the other ones do. But it still is a pretty good ride. Mm-hmm. The only thing I'll say about this movie, though, I mean, here's the thing about it, though. I mean, you've got, John Kramer and Amanda back. I mean, it's been years since that first one was made. Mm-hmm. They're not as young as they used to be, and I don't think they did any de-aging on them because you can definitely tell.
Oh wow! Okay,
you can't. I mean, but it's like you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit with that. It's like, okay, you do not look like the movie just happened, the Saw movie just happened. But if you get that out of the way, and her haircut out of the way, I'm not sure why she would do that Courtney Cox Scream 3 haircut, but. Get that out of the way.
That is so funny. Okay.
Get that out of the way, and it's actually a really good movie. I think it's really good.
Okay.
Good traps, all that good stuff. Not a lot of traps in it though, but good, but the ones that are in it are good. Up next was, while I was at the theaters, I saw The Exorcist Believer.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yep.
All right, tell me about that.
Oh well. Okay, first of all, The Exorcist is one of, if not at times, one of my favorite movies. It will always probably be one of my favorite movies for sure. I just absolutely love it. I think it's great. It was so well made, so well done. But sometimes things just happen when it happens. This came out before, that came out before I was born. Trying to replicate things like that now in this day and age is very hard to do, right? That being said, whenever they announced that David Gordon Green was going to be taking over the trilogy of The Exorcist, I was not, I was not elated. Because to me, Halloween 2018 was more of a lightning in a bottle kind of a thing. Because I really did like that movie, and I thought he kind of knew what he was doing, and it actually hit the points to bring it back to where it kind of needed to be. the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Kills, I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't love it, but I loved it. I liked it a lot more than a lot of people did. Of course, I did not like Ends at all. So I was a little bit iffy coming into this one. And I'll tell you, yeah, it just doesn't work. I didn't care for this movie at all.
And you didn't even have high expectations going in.
I didn't have the highest expectations going in. I mean, I wanted it to be good, but I mean, here's the thing. The Exorcist is fantastic. Now, is this movie better than The Exorcist Part 2, The Heretic? Is it better than that piece of shit? Well, yeah, because that's like the worst fucking sequel ever made. Like in the history of the world. I think.
It's pretty on. It's on up there. I understand. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. But is it better than the third one? No. Is it better than even those prequels? No, not really. So here's the thing about this movie. First of all, you got 2 possessed instead of 1, which kind of seems like, oh, that's new and cool. But really, that all that does is that eliminates time that you get, the precious time to spend. Like as much time you get spent with the character development with the first one, you don't get that here. So that didn't work. Legacy characters. I don't know why. Look, I mean, like with Scream, you know, like with Scream, it was like everybody could die. Everything was at stake. So you kind of knew that from after Part 2. So it was kind of like you kind of knew that. So when they killed a certain one in 5, it was like, but you kind of knew it was going to happen. And then 6 came out and they played everything too safe. And and even though it was a good movie, it kind of sucked because of that. So I don't understand why you bring legacy characters though 50 years later and then shit all over the legacy. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And why would that person agree to do it other than money? I get that, but Jesus, why would you do that? Like that, to me, that is like a desecration. Like if you want this to be a continuation of the first one and then you do that, that to me was like, that was the beginning of, oh no, this is not what I want to see. You have Jennifer Nettles, who's a country singer. She's
I don't know who that is, but
she's in that band. Or I don't know if the band's still Sugarland was the name of the band. I don't know if they're still together or not. But she plays. She's the lead actress of the one girl. She plays the mom, one of the lead actors. And I don't know. I've never seen her in anything else, so this might be her first movie, which is kind of weird to put her in as one of those roles. But what can I say about this movie? It's kind of pandering in some ways. And also it just, what is it? There are some lines that are very cringeworthy. But mostly like, you just don't care as much about this. But the main thing is there's a thing that happens at the end where 2 things are happening at once. 2 totally different emotions that are trying to, like, because as a movie, they're trying to make you feel things, right? 2 different emotions are going off at once, which might seem like a cool idea. Like, oh, this has never been done. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. It doesn't work. Because you're like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? So here's the funny thing about this movie. This movie actually did okay. Critically, it's pretty bad. Nobody seems to like it too much, but it done okay as far as like the budget wasn't crazy big, but so it made its budget. I don't know about its advertising budget, but it's still way in the hole. Because here's the thing. Apparently, Universal paid $400 million for the rights to make 3 of these movies.
Wow.
$400 million. Now, this movie is not going to make, I don't think it'll probably even make $100 million. I could be wrong. But so 2 more has to come. And generally, you're going to lose more with each one unless the first one was really good, right? So I guess there's even talk now that David Gordon Green won't even direct the next 2. I don't know. I mean, there are scenes in it that I did like that are okay, but most of it just doesn't work. Most of it just isn't what I wanted to see. And I don't know what I wanted to see. I didn't really want to see anything. I didn't really want another Exorcist movie. I still like the first one. It's perfect. That's all I need. But it just doesn't work for me. Again, I don't know. I wish that maybe some more time was taken with the thing. It's like you got one parents that they're just like, they pretty much jump automatically to possession. Oh, it's like my daughter's possessed. It's like, what?
Oh,
like what? Come on. It's like, at least with the first one, she was like trying all these different things to figure out what was wrong with her, and it just like,
yeah.
So there was like, that was just kind of like, come on, we got to get to act 3. The whole priest things was terrible. That whole, I don't even want to go into it. I mean, I don't want to do a lot of spoiler to it, but watch it. Let me know what you think. I was not a fan.
Yeah, it's hard for me with possession movies, because you've seen The Exorcist, you're like, which is one of my favorite movies, and you're like, God, it's you. If you're going to do a possession movie, you have to do it, and you have to do it well, and you have to do it a little bit different than The Exorcist. And so there's so many different versions, I feel like, of The Exorcist where they try to do something along the same lines, and it's a failure every single time. Yeah. But you're saying they try to do something different, but it just didn't work. They didn't do it very well.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they didn't try to emulate The Exorcist. They do hit some notes. They try to hit the notes. They just kind of fail at them. They try to do the little flashes, the little subliminal flashes, and stuff. But it's like,
yeah.
The voice sounds very similar to the voice on the original, the demon voice, but it doesn't even talk that much. There's no like, the shocking scenes from the original. None of that's in here. There's nothing shocking about this movie. Like, there's and all the vulgarity that was spewed forth from the mouth. None of that's in here either. None of it. It's like, come on. You should have made this fucking PG-13.
I was gonna say, is it rated PG-13? That was what I was gonna ask you.
It's not, but yeah. It's
all right.
So enough about that possession movie. I did a rewatch of another possession movie called Talk to Me. That one's better than that one, so you should go watch that. I did a watch of this new movie that just dropped called Zombie Town. Have you heard about this one?
No.
It's R.L. Stein's Zombie Town. The Goosebumps guy.
Yeah, I used to read those, read the books all the time when I was a kid. Yeah. It's kind of nostalgia, so that was PG-13, I'm guessing.
It was PG-13, yeah. And I don't know. I mean, for me, when I like PG-13 movies, like I like the Hubie Halloween, the one on Netflix. I like that. I like, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas. I like, the Addams Family. Those movies. I like that kind of PG horror. But I don't know. This is a PG horror movie about zombies, but it's like a zom-com, I guess, because it's supposed to be kind of funny. Chevy Chase is in here for a little bit. Dan Aykroyd's in it. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood. I found it kind of boring, to be honest.
Okay.
But again, could have just been in the mood. Wasn't for me at the time, but it is PG-13 horror. I think that one's on Hulu. And last thing I watched today, I watched a rewatch of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
I was just talking about this the other day too.
Yeah.
Good old classic. Love it.
Yeah. So that's it. That's a long list. Because it's October and there's so many things to watch. But most of those were new. Some good ones, some bad ones. I really did enjoy Totally Killer, and Saw X was probably two of my favorite ones that I've seen so far.
Awesome.
So anyway, I'm gonna play this interview I did with Athena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's check that out.
Okay, cool.
All right, everybody, we have Athena, the Louisville Blood Queen, joining us. Hey, Athena.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Good to talk to you again. I met you at CreepyCon. Came by your booth, and you were there with some filmmakers, and we talked for just a bit, and got a film that you were involved in. We'll talk about that in a minute. So you are an actress, makeup artist, model. You do kind of a little bit of everything. Tell us what all you do.
Well, outside of the film community, I have a lot of other passions, but within the film community, I kind of started. Basically, I went to the Tom Savini School, and I hooked up. I was in Pittsburgh at the time, and I hooked up with Toe Tag Pictures.
Yeah.
And you guys might know them from the deep underground as some of the kings of the underground horror.
Oh, of
And
course, of course.
yes, and I started with them, and back in the days when it was first August Underground, and we
Mm-hmm.
were using VCRs. We had a whole room of just stacks of VCRs where we were re-recording and selling the VHS, and that was the early days of Toe Tag, and I was there for that, and I helped with the Redson Tower and several other projects, Mortem and stuff like that, the trilogy series for the August Underground and
Okay.
things like that. And I helped in different capacities. I helped build things for the sets, and I was like I played dead bodies a lot.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, but I was also part of like the art and things like that. Like I just helped paint and like everything, just anywhere they needed me. I was just everywhere, and just a huge part of Toe
Right.
Tag, which led into a much more fruitful career, even as I kind of moved around and stuff, so.
Well, that's a very good place to start. Not too bad at all. I mean, they definitely have a reputation, especially in the indie film world of horror. And I watched The Resident Tower just recently, actually, about a week and a half ago, and it was really good. I was actually surprised how really good it was. Now, I've seen some of the other ones like August Underground stuff and totally different stuff. Now, we're hardcore horror here, so we love that kind of stuff. But I was surprised at how different The Resident Tower was. Uh, any of those films that you worked on there stand out for you? I know you said you played a dead body on that, so you kind of had a little cameo, but you worked behind the scenes a lot. Any of
I
those that
did.
just stand out for you there?
Oh, the Redson Tower of all of them was, and I knew, and you're absolutely right. That's completely different. I mean, the trilogy, the August Underground trilogy with Mortem and Penance and all that, that was,
Mm-hmm.
that was more like meant to be like snuff films,
Right,
basically.
right.
And which put us on the map, at the beginning there, and as like some of the most grotesque and disturbing shit people had ever seen. And especially like when he's fucking the chick and the dead chick in the bathtub at the end and stuff, like
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of shit. Filming that was just incredibly disgusting in itself, because we were very primitive and we were using some materials like real pig guts and like
Mm-hmm.
real things from the butcher and shit, like, and it stunk to fucking
That
high heaven, and everybody got real sick afterwards,
mm-hmm,
and it was
mm-hmm.
just, oh
Yeah, I
man.
actually know what you mean. We did that too
Yeah.
once. It was terrible. Yes, that's bad.
And I could tell you, and but Redson Tower, it was really cool, like just really making that movie. I had a lot more integral, like things to do with that film than I did the other ones, and like the fireplace in like in the room and stuff, when they bust into the room and there's that fireplace and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I helped build that fireplace. There's pictures of me in full like face mask, like gas mask and everything, because like the amount of like the materials we were using, we are shaving all this styrofoam and shit
Oh
like
wow.
that. And like, oh man, and like I was saying, when I say we got sick, we got so sick, like after everybody did, the whole like crew that like built the fucking thing, because
Really?
we built the set for them and for Redson Tower, like in their warehouse where they were all living. So
Uh-huh.
it was, yeah, like they were living in this warehouse. They didn't have hot water. It was crazy. Like it was like the time of your life when you're in your 20s and making underground horror movies. But at the same time, we were so like novice at it, and
Mhm.
I learned so much from making those movies. Let me tell you,
Oh, I'm
like,
sure. I'm sure.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would encourage anybody who hasn't, who maybe saw or maybe knows of the trilogy and that's not for them, to just go check out the Resin Tower anyway. Because again, it's so different. You might like that movie. You probably would, even if you don't like those extreme movies, because it's definitely totally different, totally a lot different. So I would
Man,
encourage anybody to.
absolutely, and I'm totally with you. And then, of course, Fred went on to make some other stuff that was completely different. I
Yeah.
mean, like
Sure.
after that,
Right.
and they've been kind of silent for a while, but that's because Fred's got all this other stuff going on. And Cruz, who's our master special effects guy, he's out in California doing big, big fucking things. So,
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, everybody went on to like make big movies. Like Fred worked on the Mr. Rogers movie and shit like that. So, like,
Yeah. That's crazy.
I'm still making underground films while these guys that I worked with are all making like He's big fucking. I'm like, I'm happy though, man, because I'm making, every year I make at least 2 or 3 just underground films that are super fun, and
Yeah.
I love them. I don't care if they're big movies or not. Like, it's just, but that is my roots. Pittsburgh and toe tag. That's my roots, and that's
Right.
where it all started. Yeah.
Okay. And now you're located in Kentucky, and you've done some other stuff. You did Crazy Fat Ethel. Tell us about that one.
So I never thought I would be doing a remake of an old slasher film, So it was really fun to get invited to work on that, actually. And when they told me I was going to play the drugged out hooker, I was like, well, that's a new role for me, but I'm ready for this, I guess, And so that was the first time I really had uncomfortable moments on set, honestly, because I had to fake fuck these guys and
Oh yeah.
hey, and stuff. And have you seen it? Have you actually watched
Yeah,
it?
yeah, I watched
Yeah.
it. I did. Yeah.
So there were some awkward moments where, and one of them is now my ex, so that's even more awkward. So, more movies on film.
Right. But you had a pretty good part, though. I mean, it was a pretty good part. I mean, overall, I would say. Did you enjoy it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I totally did enjoy it, and I had the bloodiest death. This is one reason why I was dubbed the Blood Queen, is because I have some of the most brutal, crazy deaths in some movies, and that was one of them. I had the bloodiest, worst death in the whole movie. So she just hacked me to bits in the shower, with that fucking hatchet, and oh man, yeah. So good times, yeah.
Yeah,
I love to tell the story, so.
and so that was in Louisville, right? That was shot there in that area.
We shot some of it in Louisville, some of it over in Indiana. Indiana's just a hop and skip from us, literally.
Right.
So a lot of stuff that's filmed locally is filmed here and in Indiana. A lot of the films I've personally made myself, I filmed in both, and Indianapolis is I work with a lot of companies out of Indianapolis doing stuff, and that's where my last couple of features have come out of, is Indianapolis. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I met you, you were with the Pitfire guys, right? Now, tell us about that. How'd that come about? You were kind of doing some stuff with them now.
Yeah, so I actually started. So the story actually goes pretty deep. When I first moved to Louisville, I did a Fright Night Film Festival where we premiered this movie I was in called Puzzled.
What year was that? What year did you do that?
Oh man, that was like 2000. Hold on, let me think. When did I move to Louisville? I've been here 12 years. 12 years. So that was 12 years ago, whatever the fuck that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was after me. My first movie that I ever made premiered there. It was in 2008, I guess it was. I wanted 2007, 2008. So the 2007, 2008, and then 2009, I had some movies up there in the Fright Night Film Festivals. So I was up there.
Awesome.
I was up there for a few of those festivals. Yeah.
Awesome.
It used to be a lot of fun.
It's not around anymore either, which is sad. Yeah.
I did hear some stories about that festival and kind of what happened and why it's not around anymore. But yeah. It used to be really good back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember. I went to a couple of them before they stopped doing it, and then it became like Scarefest basically out in Lexington. So
right.
Kind of what it turned into. Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of the big one now, right? What you say?
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah, and that's coming up here at the end of October, actually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so basically the story starts at Fright Night, and I was premiering a movie called Puzzled that I did with Blood and Guts Productions back in the day. And it was just this little short that we did, and it really took off running, and it did really well. And we were up there promoting it and everything, and I was running around like my character. I'm like this psychotic nurse in the movie who like kills old ladies like violently with a fucking syringe, like stabbing them over and over again and shit, right?
Nice.
Right. So I'm running around dressed up like that, and like Bob East, he had a booth right next to ours, and he's like this caricature artist. And so he drew me as this like bloody nurse because I was running around like that all weekend. And we became friends that weekend. And then he started making this other movie with like Jason Crow and Ronnie Jonah and all of them. It was Pitfire Films. It was the little like short story compilation thing that he did. Mm-hmm. And so he brought me in. He just asked Jason Crow to grab extras. And I've been friends with Crow and Ronnie for a long time. And so they asked me to come and just be like one of the girls in like the pillow scene fight or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And so I did, and we had like this great time. And this is another reason why I earned the name the Blood Queen, because I always have a gallon of blood in my car everywhere I go. And so we show up on set and they didn't have any blood. And I was like, I'll be right back. And I show up with this gallon of blood and they're like, holy shit. And so fucking, so ever since, Bob and I worked together, and then he put me in Holy Shit Man as one of the main characters. And then now, and I'm not plugging it too soon here, I don't hope, but we're working on The Killing Game. That's what we've been filming. So I've been doing that, and that's all the Pitfire crew. And that's when you ran into me at CreepyCon. We were promoting both Holy Shit Man, the one we just finished last year, and
Right.
our new one, The Killing Game. So
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
That's great. So other than that, you have any other projects you got coming up, or anything you're looking forward to doing? Anything you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Well, actually, speaking of puzzled, it's interesting because I've been talking to those guys again, and it's Stephen Caron and Sean. Sean, he keeps changing his last name. I can't. Tarasky. I don't know what it is now, but keeps fucking changing it. But
Yeah.
anyway, I've been in touch with them again, and those were the puzzle guys. And
Mhm.
I have, I've done a couple of my own films where I've written, directed, produced, and such. And so I reached out to them about a script I wrote during the pandemic, and they're super excited about making it. And so the three of us are going to team back up and make a feature film that I wrote during the pandemic and everything. And I'm going to be directing that one, and I'm going to star in it as
Very
well.
cool. Very
So,
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I've got some other little projects I'm not really at liberty to talk about yet because we're still in like pre-production stuff.
Sure,
but,
sure.
Yeah.
Understand completely. The pandemic for artists, I think it was so beneficial. I mean, it's maybe sad to say, but I feel like so many people have done and created so many things, or started to create so many things during that time period. I know for myself, I had a movie that I was sitting on. We'd already shot everything. I just hadn't edited it. I just hadn't had the time to edit it. And when the pandemic happened, I was like, okay, I got time now. I'm going to edit this thing. So did that one, wrote another one, shot it, edited it, all in the pandemic. And a
Yeah.
lot of people like, oh, this is what I did during the pandemic. So I hear a lot of stories from people that was just their time of, hey, we got nothing else to do. Let's get creative.
Oh yeah, I wrote 2 scripts, and I started doing a lot of short story writing and stuff, which a friend of mine who has an online zine that publishes like little short stories. He wants me to submit some of my stuff to him. So, and like on top of that, I mean, I've been super busy outside of even the film community. So,
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of different things, and like I'm a vlogger and a writer for like the local Leo paper here,
Oh, yeah?
and I'm the first heavy metal contributor ever to our scene here.
Nice.
And yeah, so I do a whole lot in the metal community. Like I'm very, very involved. I have my own metal program that's all video based. So I guess that kind of goes along with the movie thing. It's all video based. It's not a podcast or anything. It's literally like, I like to say it's a mixture of like MTV's Headbanger Ball with like Beavis and Butthead meets like Wayne's World meets Saturday Night Live.
Nice.
And I do album reviews and all that, but I do I do these little videos and things on my YouTube for Thrashers and Destroyers, and it's all just like local show reviews and band stuff, like all that kind of stuff, but it's all video based,
Mm-hmm.
and I spend a lot of time in my office like editing and working on these videos, and I
Right.
spent a lot of my time doing that, and I came up with that idea during the pandemic too.
There you go.
Like, very honestly. So,
Well,
yeah.
it's funny. It's true though. They kind of go together. I just watched a documentary recently called "The History of Metal and Horror," how they kind of go together.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you said you directed some stuff and wrote and directed. How do you like that sort of behind the scenes stuff? Do you like directing? Tell me which one do you prefer? Or tell me what your experiences are with that.
Well, very honestly, I like the mixture of it.
Sure.
Like, I like doing a little this, a little that. I like totally mixing it up, and I get my different creative outlets that way. And it leaves me open. I don't get burnt out,
Sure.
And so I can change it up. And I love it because, like, I'm a freelance independent movie, and artist and all that shit. So, I just do what I want, and I take the jobs I want, and I turn down the ones that don't, and, stuff like that. And it's a beautiful thing. And then, I have all these other passions too that like come into play. So there's a whole lot of like wiggle room there, and I like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to be like put in a corner or put in a box. You know what I mean? I'm
Oh,
very
yeah.
much outside of the box kind of person. So
Sure. Sure.
yeah,
So is there a big indie scene in Louisville there?
we have a decent scene here. I wouldn't say it's a big indie scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely decent though. If like, it depends on like the crowds, of course, that you run with. Like the ones I run with, obviously, we're all like horror nerds and stuff, you know. But
Right.
you know, as far as like, I mean, like there are a lot of like people who are into like film down here. You know, I mean, they support like our theaters and stuff like that. You know, so.
Sure.
We have that, but I mean, I was gonna say like Indianapolis, Chicago, you know, up towards Detroit. Those are the areas I feel that are really being productive in like the independent film scene right now. That are
Oh yeah.
like, really like
Mhm.
making waves.
Yeah,
So
I was
Chicago. You know,
I was in
like
Chicago.
more up north.
Yeah, I was in Chicago about 8 years, and the indie scene is great up there because if you need somebody for a project, you know, you're going to find some really quality people to act and help you with. So yeah, it's great. It is
Yeah.
great there.
But Indianapolis is definitely growing. I'm seeing a lot more stuff happen and come out of Indianapolis. So,
Okay.
and that's pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, on the film end of things and the metal end, Indianapolis kind of exploding for people like me right now.
Very cool.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, so you said you're a horror nerd, so that means you like horror. Tell us about some of the movies that you like. What's some of your favorite horror movies?
Oh man, I like some really weird shit, to be honest.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Yeah. Bad Biology is one
sure.
of my favorites.
Sure.
I really love that movie. The Greasy Strangler is one of the newer ones.
That's a good one.
I mean, it's just so disturbing. I just love it so, and the soundtrack is just like unnerving, and I just love it. And I have it on vinyl. It's pink, like Pepto pink vinyl too. Like,
nice.
Yeah. And so, you know, but then I love shit like Taxidermia, which is one of my fucking all-time favorites.
Taxidermia. I watched that maybe about a year ago. So that's a weird one. That's hardcore for sure.
I love that fucking movie so hard. It's so fucking fucked up and weird. And,
not for everyone. That one.
Not for everyone. No, not at all. And one of my all-time favorite movies is Brain Dead, or as some people know as Dead Alive.
Yes.
That's one of my all-time favorites. Peter Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then this one kind of surprises people, but my all-time favorite horror movie is People Under the Stairs.
It's a good one. Yeah. So that's a really good one too.
Yeah. I mean, it's horror, but it's not like, it's actually not like that horrific, really. But what it is the content is horrific.
Right.
You know, like the torture, like without even showing too much, the torture and like the depravity of it is just fucking like, whoa. And that movie changed my life when I saw that and Candyman. Mm-hmm. So when I saw People Under the Stairs and Candyman, those two movies changed my fucking like whole perspective on horror movies. Like, yeah, had a huge impact on me, both of those.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Peter Jackson, all his weird shit, Bad Taste. All that,
meet the Feebles and all that. Yeah.
Oh, Meet the Feebles. Yes. Oh, my God. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about then. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I like movies like that. You know what I mean? Like Satan's Little Helper.
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie.
Halloween movie ever made.
I watch it every year. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, me too. It's my favorite Halloween movie.
It's a great one. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got anything else you want to discuss? Anything you want to talk about of what you do?
Well, I mean, I would like to plug the record store I work at. I work at Better Days Records. If anybody is like around Louisville, it's the oldest record store in the city. And I have a complete metal section there that I, procure all the stuff. And it's not your typical metal. It's literally like I get metal from all over like tri-state area and like East Coast metal, like very underground stuff. Okay. So I would like to plug that because there's a bunch of amazing bands that people just don't know about. So if you're into metal and you're in the Louisville area, I'm there every Saturday. Come and visit me at Better Days Records. And yeah, I would love to plug that because it's fucking awesome. And not all the records, there's not many record stores with a full blown metal section. So it's so I'm very proud of that.
Awesome. That's great. So now tell me, what do you think about physical copies? Are people still buying them? a lot. Obviously people are, but how do you feel? Like, is it declining? Is it going down more and more,
Well,
or is it's kind of steady?
I can tell you, I was actually talking to the owner today and about this very thing because, people just being able to download the albums, it's really
Mm-hmm.
starting to kill, like small business, like
Sure.
record stores and
Mm-hmm.
things. And places like Amazon are going to put us out of business. And it's such a travesty,
It is. Yes. Yeah.
Now we have your diehard collectors. I mean, we have regulars. I see them every Saturday. They come in and they shop and they spend $50 and they go home with 4 vinyl if they get the, out of our cheap bin or something,
Yeah. Right.
but
Right.
even then, like, our vinyl's in great shape, maybe the jacket's all busted up. But anyway, I digress. But like, no, like if you're a collector, like, how we're nerds, we collect our movie memorabilia and all that. There's
Mm-hmm.
people like that collect vinyl. They're just as nerdy about their vinyl as we are about like our horror collections and
Right.
stuff,
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there is still a call for it, but it's definitely dwindling to the point where it's making small record stores like us suffer.
Right.
And it's such a bummer. It is. It is
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
bummer.
I mean, look,
So-
I can tell you just by my personal experience, because I make movies, physical copies, DVDs, Blu-rays, stuff like that. Just like from the last 10 years alone, I mean, every year it's definitely been a decline, from people wanting to buy them. Just like throughout the year. Like I have a big sale. October is usually my big sale, and people usually buy more then. But as far as like just throughout the year, like I've just noticed every year has just definitely been a much of a decline. And it's because, like you said, with streaming, the same thing with movies like it is with music. People are streaming everything. There's so much on Tubi and every other outlet you can think of, and then also like now all of these other boutique labels are doing sales. Like I feel like constantly, like almost every other month, somebody's doing a sale, and then you have like places that are selling super cheap. Like, I mean, you can get movies at the Dollar Tree now.
I know
It's definitely becoming very, like you said, there are people out there who really are diehard collectors who will always buy your stuff. And I can go to conventions. Some conventions I do very well at. Some conventions I don't. It really is more about the client. The crowd. It's about whoever's there and what they're there for, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
But it it is kind of a sad state of affairs because it's like someday it's going to be like ugh.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm seeing that on both ends of the spectrum. With the film and the music industry, and unfortunately, you're absolutely right. It's going to end up being just everything's going to be online, and everything's going to be, just download it to your fucking phone, right?
Right,
So,
right. And the same thing with musicians, obviously. And I've heard this many times about how Spotify and all those places don't really pay these musicians that much, unless you're getting like billions of views or listens. You're not really getting paid a lot of money. And it's really the same thing with most of the videos too. Amazon, they're not that great. And now Amazon used to do a media thing too. They used to put out DVDs as well. That was pretty bad. They don't do it anymore. But how, like, if I sell the movie, okay, say I sold the movie for $10, okay, a DVD for $10 on Amazon. How much do you think I made that?
$3.
Oh no, 50 cents.
What?
50 cents.
50 cents.
50 cents per movie for $10. Now, if you up the price, you'll get more. But $10, which some of mine were, 50 cents is what I'd make per movie if they sold by Amazon. Now, Amazon, they created it and shipped it to them. I didn't do any of that stuff, but yeah, that's how much it was. It was crazy. So they don't do that anymore. They still do their streaming stuff, and I still get revenue every month, but it's not like something if I was going to do it myself, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been working with Trauma for a while now, and I've been helping Lloyd do a lot of promotion for the Trauma Now streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And because he came to the conclusion that if people are just going to download his movies, he might as well stream them. and charge them to stream it.
Yeah.
And it's $6 a month. It's not like it's even a lot,
Right.
at all.
Right.
And the really great thing there, and a couple of my movies are actually on there, that I've like acted in and shit. But and Lloyd Kaufman's in our new movie as well, actually.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
very cool.
because he and I are kind of tight and stuff, and so he agreed to be in the new movie and shit. But well, it was really fun. Actually, went to New York and we actually got to film at his home, like in Lloyd's home, which was just like a huge honor.
Yeah.
And we did a bunch of filming at, over there in Tromaville too while we were there, which was really fucking cool. And I got to play with all the props from like the Toxic Avenger and Country Geist, and I just got to play with everything. Like it was just amazing. Like oh my god. But anyway,
great movies,
anyway, that was Lloyd's thing. He and I've had very deep discussions about this very matter. And he was like, yeah, if people are just going to download my movies and basically steal my movies, then I might as well just, stream everything. And what he does is he also streams, underground film companies, independent film companies and stuff. And he streams their movies so that they have a platform because, it's taken over. Like social media and like the internet and everything is just taking over. So that was Lloyd's, way of handling it. So I also want to plug Trauma Now.
Trauma Now. Go subscribe today.
It's free for the first month and only $6 after that once we got you addicted.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Really glad you got to come on and talk with me. And
me too, man. Thank you.
All right. So good luck with everything up there in Louisville and wherever else you're going to go, like Indiana, and come down to Tennessee and shoot some stuff, maybe, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell everybody where they can find you at on social media if you have that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm terrible with my social media, but I'm not good at that shit. But Thrashers and Destroyers is my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, I'm Athena Metal _Blood Queen. And then on Facebook, I'm just Athena Prychodko, Prychodko.
Okay.
And that's about it. Like I said, I'm really terrible at the social media stuff. I try, but
that's okay. That's okay.
I'm too busy like having fun, enjoying life, and making stuff happen. So I'm not on my phone all the time.
That's good. That's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
Now, and where can they find some of your movies?
Well, actually, besides like a couple of them, like Holy Shit Man and The Killing Game is going to be on Trauma Now.
Okay.
And then also a movie I did with a fucked series called The Human Toilet will also be on there.
Oh yeah.
But besides that, a lot of our stuff you have to find us at conventions or find us online and order them, old school DVD style, like we were just talking about. You gotta order the hard copies from us because we don't have them for download and things like that. So
awesome. So people can just go to your IMDb and look at what movies you have and search them and find them and buy them. Buy a copy. All right.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right. Well, take care for now. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thank you, Mick. You too. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Athena, little indie actress living in Kentucky, doing some crazy stuff. Did some toe tag stuff, and now she's doing some stuff up there. Awesome. All right. Well, so October is moving on. We're getting closer and closer to Halloween. What do you got going on? Anything?
Yes, I have actually a lot going on.
Okay.
So here's a couple things that I have going on for October. So October the 21st at 8 p.m. in Huntsville, Alabama, Three-Legged Circus. I'm like their hype clown.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Moon Productions is putting on this little show called Terror Under the Big Top. And Three-Legged Circus is going to be the headliner. It's supposed to be pretty cool. They've hired in some professional clowns that walk on glass, burlesque clowns, and all kinds of creepy clowns. And
cool.
I got a message earlier tonight that they've asked me to be one of the judges of their Halloween Harley Quinn pageant. So I was like, cool. Yeah. So I'll be judging that. That's pretty cool. This Sunday, Three-Legged Circus Oddities, we're going to have a booth set up. It's a little place in Clarksville. It's the Full Moon Market. So we'll have a booth there. It's all day this Sunday in Clarksville. Come see us. We got a lot of new horror merch, and it'll be a really good time. We always meet the coolest people at these events. That one will be pretty fun. One other thing that I did want to mention, there's this contest that's kind of going around social media. I'm sure you've heard of it. Face of Horror. Have you heard of this?
It's the same one as last year, right? The same thing?
Yep, same one as last year. I just wanted to mention that Tracy West is running for it again this year. He's made it to like the 5th round. So I just wanted to just throw that out there. It's all based off of votes. So vote for Tracy West. Just throw that out there for him. He's really big into the horror stuff, and we always support each other. So, but he's made it to like round 5, which is called the Witch Trials. So just go out there and show him some love, give him some votes. And October's crazy. It's, my life is horror 365 days a year. October's like horror on steroids for me. I am so swamped I have so much going on, but those are just a few things that I thought I'd throw out there for you.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah. Anything for you? Anything big? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, nothing major. Just still promoting the movies, trying to sell those for the month. I'm going to go see The Thing. They're showing The Thing actually in town. Carpenter's The Thing.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, they're gonna show that next week. I'm gonna watch that. The kids are going to do some trick or treating stuff, so I'll probably throw some stuff on last minute on that and just get all bloodied up or something. Have some fun.
Yeah, cool. And don't forget to go to www.fauxpasfilms.com. Is that right?
Fauxpasfilms.com. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Fauxpasfilms.com. Yes. Would you say 60% off?
60% off the collections. Just the regular movies, DVDs are $4 right now. Blu-rays are $6.
Dude, $4 for a badass DVD. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal. Go check it out.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. All right. So, you got anything else?
That's all I got for you.
All right. Well, until next time.
Until next time.
Spooky hard.
Stay. I can't tell you to stay hard.
Hardcore. Later.
All
right.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Nothing harder.
Hardcore Horror with Mike and Brigitte is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.